sort of thing is actually one of my pseudo-trademark things. Because I don't pick that fast, except when I'm doing like triplet stuff. So, and I want really to make rhythms feel heavy without just going, the usual chugging groove. This is fun and dandy, I have nothing against it, but I wanted something a bit different. So what I'm doing there, in that bit, is just pick twice and do a hammer-on from nowhere while you are holding the string. You can actually do that on the 6th string. It actually sounds pretty cool as well. So it's just to actually reflect the harmony I'm playing. Because this is like C minor, right? So I double C, actually B minor, sorry. I'm doubling the B here. Now I'm going to raise this so I can actually capitalize on the third while keeping it a B minor. So and now I'm just going to go to relative minor fifth. Relative major. So harmonically these make sense. I mean, randomly wanking triplets will not work at all. The finest way to train this, I found, is not to take my approach directly, because the damping part is actually tricky as hell when you're doing this, because you have nothing to rely on when you lift the foot. It usually takes you being a bit more used to doing chordal tapping and stuff. So the sort of exercise I suggested to them is actually a lot simpler and really teaches you the basics. Just as going, guilty, right? And go. That stuff going up, always diatonically. That's all there is. Just basically find a rhythmic cell that you want to really accentuate. And then, yeah, basically, and then you use the hammer-on from nowhere, actually creates a different accent than just going there and slamming everything, which works great in traditional metal approaches, but I'm not exactly a traditional metal guitarist. I got a little bored with that a while ago, and I really like to play with all the classic stuff, but it's really not for me. So that's basically it. Helped me get my own identity out there, because picking everything, on stuff like that. It's like that ninth thing I usually do in my tournaments and stuff like that. Or in Retribution, you actually listen to a different pattern part, which goes based on dance music, believe it or not. I really like to take that arpeggiated sound that these guys use and actually incorporate it in metal, because most of the chord progressions they use are actually ripped off from 80s metal anyway. So it was like, okay, I'll just return the favor and rip the arpeggios off from you. And that's how that sort of thing came about. It's actually one of the things where extended range guitars really shine, is that you actually have all these possibilities within one box. Because the whole purpose, at least for me, this is my own personal view on the subject, is not to just get there and start flogging the lower sharp. I mean, nothing against those who do, but to be frank, this gets old really fast, just getting random diminished crap and just going. Yeah, right, it's heavy. Thank you. It's you and the other 1,400 bands doing the very same thing, the very same diminished progressions. And there's a lot to sort of stuff. I can actually extrapolate the 6 string again. So it's kind of cyclic, really. I started looking at 6 strings differently, but I don't really use them anymore because I'm so used to 7s these days. And I usually end up playing outside the neck. It's just like, there was something here, and where's the string? Where did you hide it? You know?
Would you get another 8 string and put a high A on it instead of the...
I tried that, and it actually works fine, but it only works well, in my experience, in fan frets. Why? Because it can actually shorten the scale length. Otherwise, by the time you can actually use a 25.5, but you need special strings to do that, to be frank. I tried doing that in the 25.5 A, and every single band I tried doing in the high A ended up with a very dead string. And I had to stretch it, just to reach the high A and have it stay there. I had to stretch it for 24 hours. So it's just leave the guitar on the workbench, get back to it.
What gauge do you use for the high A?
I tried using a 7 for that, which is really the lower, the limit of what strings you can actually get commercially speaking. But even so, it didn't hold its own that well. What I found is that in this sort of bridges, especially in string through a lot of guitars, when you go for a high A approach, you tend to either have the neck break at the cello, no matter how good the cello is, just because of all the excessive tension, or at the nut, or what is also quite common, it just starts just unwinding itself, and all of a sudden you just see a ball popping off the bottom of the guitar and falling on the floor and go, now this doesn't do it. And basically, if you go for a fan fret type, it does work. Rusty Cooley does that, for instance, on his 8 strings. He doesn't really have a lower sharp. But he tunes the whole tone down. And when you do that, from A to G, it actually works like a trump. It works like a trump. A whole step and a half step down actually make things very, very easier on the string. And actually the lift on it is quite usable. Personally, however, I did prefer using a high G as opposed to a high A. Why, you ask? Just because in terms of chordal work, it made it a lot easier. Because the A doesn't really belong there. I mean, for instance, this is of course a representative chord. It doesn't really work like that. An E minor would look kind of like, you know, this. So all I could do was either play the 5th or forego bar chording altogether, because basically the major third would be here and the minor third would be here. So it's like, you know, playing stuff like and it doesn't really work because it lost a lot of notes. So I just have the minor third.
Is your 8 string tune standard, or have you dropped the low 8?
No, I usually use it in F sharp, because it allows me to use standard chordal shapes, you know. And for instance, you know, just the good old major chord. It's actually easier to get chords together dropping it to E, because all you're doing is actually, you know, either complementing or replacing.
So that's what Tosin and Basie does?
Tosin does that because Tosin comes from a classical/jazz background. Okay, so what Tosin wants to do is to have the perfect 5th cycle, just shove in 3 strings. So you can actually have root, 5th, root, and cycle it, and then when cycling to the 4ths, which he does that a lot, or the 4th cycle and stuff, what he has to do is to move the finger down 1 fret. It's all there again.
It's E, B, and E.
It's E, B, yeah, the rest is standard. It's basically a standard 2 and 8 string with a drop key. So it basically does a lot of stuff. It just replaces the E string with this. But actually it's quite useful. Don't try doing this with an A string and a gauge below 80. It sounds like, yeah, this is an 80. So that you actually get a lot of really thick chords like really, really easy to use, especially because you can just double the melody. And you don't really need to think about it because it's all so familiar history you'll want to know. I haven't actually written songs in rock yet, just didn't feel like it. Because basically the regular tuning just